We're a little over a week away from the Kentucky Derby, and here's another top 10 list. Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Vinny with Dynasty Picks, and the guys asked me to come on today to go over my current top 10. Last week we did a consensus one with all of our horses, and they wanted me to go over my personal top 10, so that's what I'm going to do. My top 10 probably looks relatively similar to a lot of people's. I don't think I have too many surprises in here, but I'll just start at the bottom and work my way up. I have Crown Pride, the Japanese invader, as my number 10 horse. I know not much has come out of the UAE Derby in previous years, but these Japanese horses are they're getting better. This is the fourth Japanese horse to try the Derby. Each one has done progressively a little bit better than the last. And the last one was Master Fencer, who technically finished seventh, but then because of the DQ of Maximum Security, got moved up to sixth. So he's that's not terrible. He actually ran a very good race there. So if the trend continues, Crown Pride should find his way into the top 5 or 6 horses to finish here. He's got a good closing kick. He's got some tactical speed. I do like his chances. I just mainly the issue with the European horses is how quick can they get out of the gate. We've seen horses like Mendelssohn in the past take a lot of money and then just all chances ruined at the start because they don't break as quick. So I do have him low. He should be a huge price on Derby Day, and I'm going to use him underneath, even if I don't really think he's gonna hit the top 3. He's gonna be probably 25, 30 to 1, in my opinion. He's worth using underneath. I have him 10th. I think he's definitely in the top half of this field, and I think he'll finish that way. Number 9, I have Smile Happy, and I've been very critical of Smile Happy all year, and I recently moved him up into my top 10 as of actually time of recording this, April 26th. Recent addition to my top 10. He was right outside the top 10 for me. I've moved him in. Mainly, he hasn't run awful this year. His 2 losses are to Epicenter and Zandon, who I have 1 and 2. So I feel like Smile Happy has a chance to be that horse that, yes, he does. I don't think he has a chance to win personally. I would be shocked if he won. But he kind of has the feeling of a horse that might run second, and you look at the exact afterwards and you're like, well, how did I miss that? I don't know what kind of price we're going to get on him, but he's got the running style you want for the Derby where he kind of sits right off the pace. He's got a good kick. He just hasn't been the best horse in his last 2 races. But at a price, he's like I think he can find his way into the exacta, no problem. He's just as good, I think, as horses above him. I just don't. I think we've already seen his ceiling, which is my main issue with Smile Happy, and I don't think the distance is necessarily what he wants. But if he's going to be 15, 20 to 1 because of some of these others and the way the betting is this year, I think he's a very logical horse to use underneath. And for that reason, I did move him up. Number 8 I have is White Abario. I know a lot of people have White Abario higher than I do. I'm still not sold on Saffy Joseph in these big races outside of Florida. He's got to prove it to me that he can ship these horses for major days and win. Uh he's another one. He's kind of in my opinion he's kind of like Smile Happy where he's done nothing wrong this year. He's beaten horses on a Florida circuit that I'm not super high on anymore, but he's still getting the job done. But I think we've kind of seen what a Barrio is at this point, and I don't think there's much more we're gonna see out of him in terms of improvement. So For that reason, he's another horse that I think at the right price I would use underneath, but he's honestly probably on that borderline for me of last on, last off of my tickets because I do want to try to get some value, and I get he's probably gonna. I think he'll probably be around 10 to 1. I would like a little more on that. At 10 to 1, I'm gonna hope one of these other higher price horses can just beat him to the wire personally. So I have him at number 8. He definitely could move up, and all of this obviously is dependent on the draw. Um, the draw in the Derby is one of the more important draws of the year because nobody wants the rail, nobody really wants the 20 post. So all depends on where these horses draw. But this is my last top 10 before the draw. At number 7, I have Zozos for Brad Cox. I actually think he is the better of the 3 Brad Cox horses, and his numbers say that too. He chased Epicenter. Well, he set the pace, and then Epicenter passed him last time out. But he ran on, and he ran well. Brad Cox has said that while the pedigree suggests he's should be a sprinter, that horse is more comfortable going around 2 turns, so that's a positive. But again, he's another horse, in my opinion, kind of like Smile Happy and White Abario. He's done little wrong. But if this horse comes in second, it's not really going to surprise anybody. He already ran second to Epicenter, and for some reason the Louisiana Derby exact that comes in again, it's going to pay 10 times what it did that day if it comes in on Derby day. I just think he's a logical long shot that makes sense underneath. He's got tactical speed. The pace in this race is a little muddled, especially depending on who who stays and who goes. We recently got Classic Causeway back, which should inject a little bit more pace into this race. So Zozos might sit that right behind the first flight trip, which is kind of the spot you want to be in, is a couple lengths off the lead or be the actual pace setter. So he should be probably 30 to 1. If he gets bet down, I probably won't use him. But at like 30 to 1, yeah, he makes sense underneath for me. At 6, I have Charge It for Pletcher, and I like Charge It a lot, and I don't think he's actually going to make my ticket. I think I'm going to wait for the Belmont with this horse and hope I'm right that he needs another start. He looked he he looked very green in the Florida Derby. He arguably, if he runs straight in the stretch, he wins. Okay, I get it. I don't know how this race is going to set up for him unless he really takes another step forward. Um, he can sit near the lead. He can come from a little behind, which is good, but he doesn't have, in my opinion, he doesn't have the best closing kick. I think there's others in here who have a better closing kick. And I do think he is a little green still. So with that, I don't think he'll run bad. I my in my opinion, I think he'll probably run, top 7, and they'll wheel him back in the Belmont, and that's probably the race I want to play him. If for some reason he is the right price here, I will probably play a win bet on him just in case because I do like the horse a lot and I would hate to get beat by him. But I like some of these others way too much to really use him as a key in trifectas and stuff. I maybe would key him underneath, but he's another one who I think is going to take money that I'm just going to hope this isn't his day. At number 5, I have Taiba, the Yakteen horse, former Baffert horse. He slid a bit. I had him as high as 3. I slid him back to 5. He's going to try to do the one work to Kentucky Derby route, which has not been successful. He's very lightly raced and he's going to be lightly trained too. So on natural talent, yeah, sure, he can win. Would it shock me? No. But the last couple horses to try they run the last prep and they win, and then they run in the last prep and then they only have one work before the Derby. I believe it was Tax, according to some tweets. Tax did it and ran poorly. And I saw shout out to Matt Bernier for the Irish War Cry stat, Irish War Cry also tried this and took a ton of money on Derby Day and made a middle move, but was nowhere to be found late. So, as good as talented as this horse is, it does kind of seem like they are rushing the horse. And reports came out that Yakteen didn't want to enter him in the Santa Anita Derby. The ownership did, and kind of have to listen to what ownership does. So ownership wanted to run him in the Santa Anita Derby off the maiden win. Of course, he wins, but it seems like this horse might be a little rushed. And for that reason, especially at a short price, I just think there's too many others in here that you're either on. I think you're either on his train or you're off, or you just toss him. And that's kind of the fence I'm on right now. And I'm leaning more towards just completely tossing Taiba than rather than actually using him in this spot. At number 4, I have Mo Donegal for Pletcher, and I really liked him. I've liked Mo Donegal since the Remsen last year. I still think he has a lot of flaws that could be very impactful to the way he finishes the Derby. But if he gets clear, I think he could easily run everybody down. The issue is him getting clear and him getting the right trip. He's one of those ones that overseas, I believe he's still double digit odds, which if he goes off double digit odds here, especially off his last race, he'll be on my tickets. But he's got the feeling of a horse that's going to get clear late and run up for second or third, in my opinion. So that's why I have him 4th. I'm going to toy around with the idea of using him higher, but at the moment, I am not sold on him as being a legit number, like a top tier horse. I actually have him as the first horse in my second tier. So he's a horse that probably makes my tickets, but at the same time, I can argue if he's too short of a price, I would be fine tossing him and letting him beat me. At number 3, I've moved him up a bit, is Messier, the other Yakteen former Baffert horse. And he is an interesting horse, in my opinion. He's kind of got the same feel as Medina Spirit did last year and as Authentic did the year before. He's a pace horse that doesn't necessarily need the lead and seems to be coming into the Derby with a real chance to improve. On thoroughgraphs, he's coming into this race pairing up ones, which is, in my opinion, the best trend that is in this year's Derby, is Messier pairing up ones in his last 2 efforts. So that's that's definitely something that I look at. I think he could be a pace player. He also can sit right behind the pace if he needs to. He A lot of people, including myself, had Forbidden Kingdom pretty high up on their Derby boards, and I mean I know Taiba won that race, but Messier did all the dirty work, winning, basically putting Forbidden Kingdom away. So if he can do that in the Derby, he's got a good shot, especially in a race where it's going to be harder to come from the back of the pack. Uh, I think he's a very big player here, especially if we're going to get double digits on him, which I think we will because he didn't win his last prep. I think he'll probably be about probably your 5th or 6th choice. I'm going to guess between like 10, 12 to 1 is what we're going to get on Messier. He just makes sense. I think he's too big of a pace player here to really ignore. So he's going to be on my tickets. I hope he wins? No, but actually looking at the current field and how the race may shape out, he's one of those horses that if he draws good, yeah, I think he has to be on your tickets. But if he draws the one hole, you just toss him and you move on. But yeah, currently he's my number 3 because I think the race kind of does go through him a bit. At 2, I have Zandon, the winner of the Bluegrass, and Zandon just seems to be getting better. His Bluegrass proved that. He ran 3rd to Epicenter early in his 3-year-old debut this year, and he didn't break particularly well. And that's kind of the big question with Zandon is if he breaks clean and he can get a good position early and he can be sitting, 9th, 10th, 11th early, he probably has a big shot here. If he breaks poorly, though, like he has in a couple of his career races, and he's off a step slow, and he's 17th, 18th early, he's probably not going to make up the ground. But the way that he finished off that bluegrass and the way that he was able to run inside of horses and pass horses, he's a major player here. I think pretty much across the board, I don't think there's anybody saying that he's not. He's my number 2 just because of his gate issues. Because if you can't get out of the gate in the Derby, that's it. Your race is done. So at the right price too, he probably ends up being my top pick. We'll have to see how he draws. I'm hoping for a favorable draw for Zandon, but yeah, if he draws well, and for some reason one of these others I have high up on here doesn't, like Zandon's probably my top pick. At the worst, he's going to be my second pick. As long as he draws well. On top, I have Epicenter. Steve Asmussen gets Rosario back, and he just seems like the one to beat. He's done nothing wrong. The Lecomp's still puzzling to me that how he got run down by Call Me Midnight, but we'll go with he was improving still. He runs his last race. If he runs how he did in the Louisiana Derby, he's going to win. He's versatile. I know a lot of pace models early, have him right on the pace or being the pace setter, which I don't agree with. I'd be kind of surprised if Rosario took that route unless he broke like a rocket, which he could because he does break very well. I would be shocked if he was more than a length or so off the early lead, but I don't think he's necessarily your pace setter. But the scary thing about him is that he's got a very good turn of foot, and he's probably the horse that's going to get first run at the pace setters. So everybody else coming from the back is going to have to pass him in the stretch. And that's what I think makes him the scariest horse in the race. I don't see how you leave him off your tickets unless he draws very poorly. I wouldn't play him from the 20, the 20 hole probably wouldn't play him at. The 1 hole I definitely won't play him at. The 1 hole forces his hand, and he has to go. Not looking to play him. The 20, depending on who breaks near him, maybe actually. Now thinking about it, Big Brown obviously is the outlier from post 20. That just dominated that field. So Epicenter he just has the least amount of question marks in my opinion, and that's why I have him ranked 1. Now, if he's sub 3-1, I can see trying to beat him because I do think he's a very beatable horse in my opinion. I don't think he is a standout over this bunch. Pretty much every figure tells you that he's not a standout over this bunch. So if he gets the Mattress Mac $3 million win bet money, and all of a sudden he's down to 3-1, 5-2, yeah, I can see trying to beat him. But if I'm going with everybody here at the same, everybody here relatively the same odds, like that's why he's my number 1. But that's it for my top 10. We'll have a new top 10 once the draw happens. Hoping some of these horses like that I like at a price like Crown Pride and Smile Happy and Zozos do draw favorably. That way I can use them underneath because I'm not going to, if any of these horses draw the 1 hole, it would have to be I would really have to think hard about using any of these on my tickets, even underneath. I really don't want to use the 1 hole. So yeah, that's my top 10. I'm gonna guess. I believe the guys have it planned that they're gonna do their own top 10s too before the draw, and then next week we will dive into it once the draw actually happens. I would like to try to do something live for the draw, but I haven't talked to them about that. So when they watch this, maybe they'll give me an answer. But anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in, and I will see you next time.